Hello, good morning students. We are discussing the lesson of history, the age of industrialization. In this lesson, we are discussing the different fascinating aspects and different phases of industrialization that shaped the world, that also brought a lot of employment opportunities to the different people, especially workers and laborers. The phase of industrialization was also an important and landmark event in the world's history that also changed our cultural, political, economic and educational lives also. So therefore, this is very essential to note that the phases of industrialization in Britain and Europe was different than Indian context. So let us see what happened, what particular states or revolutionary changes took place in Indian context. So in this part now we will discuss the age of Indian textiles. How the Indian industries, especially textile industries and cotton textile industries, emerged as an important factor to spread the different industries in Indian landscape. Therefore, it is very essential to find out what happened, especially in the India during the industrialization and different phases of industrialization. It is very important, and it is very important to note that what types of people or which type of people were engaged in this Indian trade and trading activities. And what was the role of colonial government in Indian trade? All these things we are going to discuss in this part, the age of Indian textiles. Now let us see. As we already discussed that India produces a finer variety of cotton than any other countries in the world. Because coarse cotton, coarse means rough cotton, which has no good quality. This coarser cotton usually came from many countries, but finer varieties of cotton came from India only, because there was great demand for silk and cotton goods from India at international market. Because India produces very finest quality of cotton as well as silk. So silk and cotton goods from India dominated in international market. There was great demand for these two products at the international market, and many countries, especially European countries and European powers, including French, Dutch, Portuguese and British, they were attracted towards this finest quality of cotton and silk, that they wanted to expand their business activities, and they wanted to export these two things in the international market in different countries and to earn more profit. So therefore, most of the countries were preferring and producing coarse cotton, but finest variety usually came from India. So many people from these countries, especially Armenian and Persian carried goods from Punjab to Afghanistan, Eastern Persia. These goods from Punjab, okay, were the main pass or were the main route to carry Indian goods and to sell in another countries. So keep in mind, Armenian and Persian, they carried goods from Punjab to Afghanistan, Eastern Persia and Central Asia, and exported or transported to different countries at international market. Bales of cotton goods carried on camel backs, because you might know that above the Indian boundary, above the India, in the China, there was a route, Silk Route, called Silk Route, and this Silk Route was very famous because most of the silk was traded from this route. I want to tell you this. For example, this is an India. Suppose this is an India, and here is China. So from this area there was Silk Route, and this Silk Route was very famous because most of the silk was traded. And in this area there was a hill area, mountainous area, and there was also desert in China and in Central Asia. So most of the bales of cotton goods were carried on camel backs because there was no accessibility of transportation due to difficult terrain, difficult landforms in that particular places. Therefore, these were carried on camel backs through mountain passes and across the deserts. So from this area, the Silk Route, most of the cotton goods from India were also transported and exported. Another, so in this particular trade from India were especially acted through pre-colonial ports. Pre-colonial period, there were 3 ports which were developed, and most of the cotton goods and other silk goods were carried through these 3 ports, such as on the Gujarat coast there was Surat, in the Coromandel coast there was Masulipatam, and on the Bengal coast there was Hooghly port. So with these 3 ports, Indian traders and merchants carried these trading activities in the pre-colonial period. So a vibrant silk trade was operated in this pre-colonial period, and before the British arrival in India, Indian merchants and bankers and traders were involved in these trading activities, and they usually exported the cotton and silk goods from these pre-colonial ports. And when these pre-colonial period ports were developed, that time many Indian merchants, traders and bankers were involved in these trading activities. Some merchants and traders were financing the productions. Some merchants and traders were carrying supply from one place to another place. For example, if goods, cotton and silk goods are produced in Gadchiroli, then these productions which produced in Gadchiroli and Gadchiroli need to carry it at Nagpur. So there were some middlemen were engaged in supplying that production from Gadchiroli to Nagpur. In a similar way, most people, especially merchant, traders, bankers were financing the productions which did not have money to the people. For such people, the bankers were giving money and lending the money. So these type of activities, carrying supply from one place to another place, there were also brokers at the ships who bargained the prices from merchants, and these various activities were carried by these 3 pre-colonial ports, Surat, Masulipatam and Hooghly. Therefore, this trade was very flourishing trade. This trade was very developed trade before the British arrival, and many Indian merchants, bankers and financiers and traders were earned huge profit from this trade. But what happened? These Indian trade, which operated by Indian merchants and traders, began breaking by 1750s. Because gradually the colonial government began spreading in India, and when British people or colonial government secured trading rights in India, that time they got monopoly rights. When they got monopoly rights, they established entire control over the Indian trade. They began exporting most of the important goods, especially cotton and silk goods, from India to other countries at the international level. Colonial government also employed various people along with them to look after the different producing activities or production process. And therefore, with the British arrival, they established the firm control over the Indian trade and trading activities. That is why by 1740, these 3 ports, the Indian traders and merchants which operated Indian trade by these 3 ports, Surat, Masulipatam and Hooghly, began decaying. These 3 ports gradually come to an end. There was no trade from these 3 ports, but when colonial government established power and it established colonies in India, and they started trading the Indian products to the other countries, that time old ports decayed, means closed. Surat, Masulipatam and Hooghly, these 3 ports were closed or decayed, and new ports were developed by colonial government. They were known as Bombay and Calcutta. Because Bombay and Calcutta, these 2 cities were located at the coastal areas. was very easy for the colonial government to operate trade from the Bombay and Calcutta through the sea route. So therefore, this was the change or the age of Indian textile, where Indian merchants and bankers and traders operated this trade, but this trade was gradually come to an end from 1750s, began breaking down, and British government or colonial government established firm control, and these three ports completely closed and new ports were developed. They were Bombay and Calcutta. There is evidence or proof with us that how the production process, or export rate from these three ports decayed or closed. In the last years of 17th century, means 1690 to 1695, the trade value from Surat port was 16 million rupees. In the last years of 17th century, the trade value, the export value of Surat port was rupees 16 million. But by 1740, the trade value from Surat port declined up to 3 million rupees. 3 million. See, it means what? Within 15 to 16 years, 16 million rupees trade from Surat port declined or slumped or came down up to 3 million rupees. It means that definitely the colonial government established control over the Indian trade, and that is why these three ports were come to an end or close, and new ports were developed, Bombay and Calcutta. So I hope you have understood this particular part well. So keep on studying, and we'll see next part in the next video. Thank you.